9.
Well, this book is really something. The Bronze Horseman, it's called. It's an epic about love and war set in Leningrad, turning the clock back to 1941 when Hitler invaded the city. For Russian-born New Yorker Paullina Simons, it's a departure from her usual fiction. This one was inspired by her family, and this is how she dedicates the book. For my beloved grandmother and grandfather who've lived through the First World War, the Russian Revolution, the Russian Civil War, who've lived through the Second World War, the siege of Leningrad, evacuation, through famine and purges, through Lenin and Stalin, and in the golden twilight of their lives, through 20 non-air-conditioned summers in New York. God bless you. And Paullina Simons is in the country. She's with us now. It is a wonderful book. I love Tatiana, the leading character, from the opening lines when we read her sleep of restless joy, of warm white Leningrad nights, the exuberant sleep of undaunted youth. Tell us about Tatiana and how she came into your mind.
I wanted to write from a point of view of the youngest member of the family, and that's who she was. I didn't want to write a book from Dasha's perspective because I wanted to see because I was the older sister and my sister was always the youngest sister, and I wanted to write a book of what it was like for someone to go through life being looked down on, or not being high up.
Did you also want us, your readers, to love Tatiana?
I wanted my readers to love Tatiana because I loved her.
You see, for me, it's like a movie. If the movie can get me in the first 10 minutes or so, if I care about a character, it's got me. And this book absolutely got me. I just love her. Tell me what you think about when you write, because I understand that this family, the Metanov family, and Tatiana in particular, became almost an obsession for you when you were writing this. It took 3.5 years to write the book for you, did it?
It took, at least that. I mean, from the conception of it to the final, giving it to my editor, it took that long. But I mean, the fire did not come down. I mean, it was only in the last several months that the true fire came down, maybe the last 8 months or so, when I thought about nothing else.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
You eat, breathe, live, sleep the characters.
Nothing else,
It's such a jarring juxtaposition because we have this love and this sense of destiny set against some of the most enormous conflicts of the 20th century, the things that your grandparents went through. How did you research it? How did you research the horrors of it?
Talk to my grandparents, talk to my family, when I went to Russia, talk to people there, did a lot of personal research and also some book research.
So did that make the book harder to write because it's so intensely personal?
Yes, much harder. Fear of failure was much greater. Fear of not doing justice to the subject was much greater.
What about, you said, you've said in one interview that I read, I can't believe the experiences that human beings have gone through and still come out the other side alive, intact, possibly even better for it, and they live and laugh again. Is that your grandparents, the people we see dedicated in the book?
Yes, it is. It's them. They have just an enormous capacity for passion and love and joy, despite everything that they've gone through.
How did they survive all of that?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know, because they were so hungry for so long and without each other for so long, and my grandmother had to keep the whole family in evacuation alive for years.
What's their reaction to this book been?
My grandfather tears up every time he even mentions that I wrote a book, and every time I say I'm going to New Zealand, I'm going to Australia to promote it, he just gets that look like I'm going to break down any minute. So he's so proud.
Interesting for you, because you have both worlds now in you. You have that Russian side and you have the American. Do you still have that aching Russian soul, the sort of unrequited, the Chekhov type soul?
I do, that Dostoevsky angst, yes.
Where you just have to analyze everything to the nth degree.
Completely, and suffer through it all and look at every side, and absolutely.
Compare that with America, where you live. You live between Texas and New York,
I live in New York now. I used to live in Texas,
And compare it with America. Does it have a soul, and if so, what sort of soul?
America definitely has a soul, but I think it's happier, not so laden and weighted with history and suffering. They're more like we live in the here and the now, whereas in Russian soul, we live in the past.
You were born in Leningrad, where the book is set, in 1963. How much of the memories of your childhood are woven into the descriptions there?
Nearly all of them. Tremendous, all the village life, the rooms in which Tatiana lives are the rooms where I grew up. My grandparents, the family is all semi-autobiographical, so.
1968, you're 5 years old and your father's arrested. Why and what happened then, Paullina?
He was arrested for writing silly letters to Pravda, advocating the rule of law, and they finally caught up with him and wanted to silence him and the group of people that he was associating with. So. And
he was sent to a gulag. He was banished.
He waited a year in prison awaiting trial, then was tried in 3 days, then sent to the gulag.
That must have been horrific for you as a child.
I did not know this. I did not know this till we emigrated. We were in Vienna when I found out. They told me he was on a business trip because I couldn't tell it in school. They were afraid I was going to spill the beans and then things were going to completely collapse, you know.
It's extraordinary. This book has a lot of that in it, that pain and the confusion and the love and the joy.
And the love, yeah.
There's a movie in this. Do you think we could have our Kiwi-born Oscar winner, Russell Crowe as Alexander?
No, he's got to be more... Well, we could, I suppose, maybe. You know.
Close, but not quite. Can I say something? I haven't quite finished the book.
Okay.
This is the highest praise I can give you. I don't want the book to finish. Can you please write a sequel to it?
I did.
You have?
I did. Next year, August 2002.
Good.
England has already put it on their schedule.
Wonderful. So. I'm slowing down the reading because I don't want it to finish.
Know.
That's how much
nice
I loved it. And the book is called The Bronze Horseman. Paullina Simons, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
very
11
much.
away from 9 now. If you've got some teenagers, you'll need to be watching this in a couple of moments.